adventure ends, another begins. As our adventurers leave the Feywild, the heroes of Bingle are headed back into the deep reef. It's Tuesday, and it's time for a special Dungeon Rundown conversation, unlike any that we've ever had before. In the studio tonight to recap the Feywild, the Mending of Magic, we have DM Amy Vorpahl.
Woo! Woo! So good to be here, Trisha.
So lovely to have you.
There's a warden staring into the back of your head. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, it's terrifying. Oh, we better get on with the show. And here to ready the watchers and runners for their voyage back in the sea with the heroes of Bingle after a full recovery, DM Mr. Jeff Cannata. Welcome back, Jeff.
Thank you, thank you. I don't know about full recovery.
Okay.
I have a patch on my
I mean, a really cool patch.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Pretty good.
That's gonna happen all night, and I'm so happy about it. All right, Caffeine is the only place to get the live, up-to-the-minute scoop straight from the source, and tonight, that's literally. With just one day until our heroes are face-to-face with the Inferno Warden, you need to get comfy and hit that share button now. So Jeff, can you give us a little bit of insight into the patch that you're wearing? I've seen much love for it online.
Yes,
it's very cool.
The wonderful folks on the Discord, our unofficial Discord, demanded that I wear the patch tonight. So I am their faithful servant. As we all know, I had detached retina surgery and am still recovering, but good enough to be back and do the show tomorrow night. But hey, can I just say real quick?
Yes.
Thank you. You're amazing.
Oh, man.
The show was amazing.
Thank you so much for having me.
The cast was amazing, but you just, jumping into what is not an easy situation, a moving car, you're having to leap in, and you just did it with such aplomb and style and grace.
You.
It was wonderful to watch. So
that of course, yeah. I heard about the surgery, and I actually only heard 2 words before I was like, I kind of don't want to hear anymore, and it was deflated basketball. R.E. your eye. And I was like, okay, I don't need to know anymore. Like, I'm already picturing a bunch of images. But no, it was a true delight. And I'm excited to get everyone back to the Inferno Warden.
Yeah, leave it to me to sink the pirate ship and then get the eye patch.
I know.
What is that?
So perfect.
Also, leave it to me to build an entire campaign around an object that has an eyeball on it, and then my eye falls out. But what are you gonna do?
Be careful what you campaign.
It's funny because it's true. Nashina in chat says there should be a T-shirt with Jeff's new look, and I second that. We'll look into that. Watchers and runners, tonight is your chance to go right to the source. So make sure that you're posting your questions about all things Dungeon Run and all things the Mending of Magic. Not only could you earn a wonderful shirt, but you could also stand the chance of wowing Amy and Jeff and maybe getting some real life inspiration tossed your way. So get those comments going, guys.
It's easy to wow me.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm very reactive. I'll just say wow to just about anything. I'm like Owen Wilson.
Wow, okay.
Wow.
So Jeff, it's your first time back to the rundown, fresh off your time away.
Since episode 1.
Whoa!
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
She's right. She's very easily wowed.
I love it. Well, it's amazing to have you back, obviously. How does it feel to be back on the rundown?
I'm so happy to be back. I've enjoyed watching all the episodes. I've enjoyed watching your episodes of the run, and it's been heart-wrenching for me to be a part of it. It's like, I've been telling people, it was like watching my wife go out on a date with someone else and being like, oh, she's so happy. No, she deserves to be happy. She's better off with them. Yeah. No.
That's so heartbreaking.
No, but that's like, there was so much support for both Jeff and me, and everyone was like, oh, Amy, you're great, but how do you reconcile all this? And my metaphor was like, no, but this is 100% Jeff's baby. He developed it, created it, raised the baby, and I am just blessed to be able to babysit it for a minute, and that's how I was looking at the entire thing. It's just like, what a treat.
Well, the show could not have been in better hands. Honestly, it was great. Yeah.
I love the love fest that's happening right now. So, Jeff, what feedback and support did you get from the Discord specifically? I know there was some type of audio package put together for you.
Yes, huge thank you. I mean, I have thanked them in the Discord, but a huge thank you to everybody, specifically who else? Elliot, Dyson Capes, and a lot of the people who were helping to sort of make that happen. But I got a wonderful, because people knew that my eye was out of commission, I wasn't able to read things for a while, they actually sent me audio messages of support and encouragement and just kindness and goodwill, and it was awesome. I mean, it really made a difference.
Did you cry?
Oh, yeah, my wife and I listened to them together, and I was crying. I'm not sure if this is good for the eye.
Oh, no!
Yeah, it was wonderful. And, you know, part of the thing I know that you have experienced as well is this community is amazing.
Amazing.
And I feel so privileged to interact with them and be a part of this. And I think it's only going to grow, and I'm just so privileged to be part of it.
Yeah, and we are very privileged to have both of you because you're both incredibly talented. And I think Sir Gage says it really well in chat, says, Amy's great, but I miss Jeff, and Jeff is great, but I miss Amy. And I think a lot of people are gonna feel that way.
So sweet.
Lily Dumblestuck fan says, we need Dungeon Run 2 nights a week with Ein and the Feywild. So that's just what we're gonna have to do, I guess. No, I do not have any power to make that call. Don't listen to me. So yeah.
I will say, so when they mentioned Ein, I named the kingdom Clain, which is Q-L-A-I-N.
I
Did you do that on
know.
purpose?
Maybe.
It was nice. I like
It's
that.
been very confusing for me. I will tell you. I'm like Ein and Klein. Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Klein and Ein. Nope.
I'm a stinker.
You mischievous pixie, huh? So yeah, chat's already on fire. Everybody's so excited that you guys are both here. But before we jump into the deep end of chat, we've got to warm up your creativity with a little icebreaker. Amy and Jeff, are you game?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so in both the Dungeon Run adventures, we had the pleasure of watching our cast of players journey through some treacherous lands amidst some very big challenges, which can also be, that's how people can describe high school. So I would like to throw things back to high school, specifically senior year and senior year superlatives. Who from each of your party of adventures would be memorialized in the yearbook and for what? So give us your list of most likely twos from your individual series. Ready? Okay, Amy?
Okay, I wrote them down because you told me this beforehand.
I did. I let Amy cheat a little bit because this is the harder one.
All right. First off, we've got most likely to be arrested. They're all dark, by the way. Brick.
Most
likely to be
Rick is
arrested.
most likely to be arrested?
Absolutely, he has those, crazy rainbows, probably accidentally, but
Pain
definitely
bows.
the pain, taste the painbow, love that. Okay, most likely to go on a revenge spree after a small animal is killed, Crow,
Okay.
due to his rage that we saw, and also his likeness to Keanu Reeves.
I think my class has that same award.
Yes, I was going to say
Go ahead,
that.
though.
You 100% should.
Most likely to hold eye contact with you until you fold, Sir Helvengard. That's an easy one. Most likely to steal yo girl, Ego, and you'll never see it coming because he a sapiosexual. So he's all about that brain. So you'll never see it coming.
Okay.
And then most likely to die alone, Gus, but by choice.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we got
But Gus won't
Gus will
have
have Bert.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think apes don't live as long as humans. Anyway,
Oh,
yeah,
that's so sad.
went to
Gus.
a dark place.
Okay, Ash Shore gave us most likely to get Child Protective Services called.
Yeah. Well, anyone surrounding Brick, I guess.
Magic Animal Cat says, but he's a fey ape.
He's a fey ape. He can cast magic, but that's kind of where the feyness ends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so that's how I interpreted it. No, y'all, Gus is most likely. I'm not saying she's gonna die alone. I'm saying she's the most likely to die alone.
I mean, she might not.
By choice, and also by choice. She's gonna go off in the woods on a vision quest.
It's going to be a beautiful solitary death.
Yes.
One of those good ones, that people want.
Oh, Morgan is in chat. Hi, Morgan. Says everyone is Brick's daddy, so the authorities can't blame anyone
Oh,
if Brick goes to jail.
wow.
Perfect.
That's a loophole.
Right?
Dear Child Protective Services, I am this child's father. Ask him.
Everyone is.
Yeah.
Perfect. But I wonder if Brick's actual age would play into it at all.
Into...
Like, they'd be like, oh, we can't arrest him because he's a minor. But is he?
But is he? Yeah, I guess remains to be seen. Look, it's most likely, not saying that, these are all hypotheticals.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was most likely to win an Oscar in my high school. Did I win one? No.
Not yet.
Not yet. Brick has not been arrested yet. You have not won an Oscar yet. We can map this over.
Very diplomatic, Amy.
Thanks.
All right, Jeff, you're most likely to's?
Okay, we'll go down the positioning of the table. I think Civ is most likely to stab. Either that or most detention hours.
Okay. Yeah.
Fahima, I think she gets the same award that you gave out, the most likely to go crazy after you kill a small animal.
Yes, I agree.
That's all about Fahima. James, most likely to be an accountant.
Okay.
Or actually probably best dancer is probably what he would get.
Yeah.
Funky, even at a young age he was
Funky
funky.
dancer. Uh-huh.
And then we have Ugo, probably most likely to inadvertently break your bones.
Okay.
Or just simply ragiest. And
Awful rage.
And then I think Lily would probably be, life of the party. Isn't life of the party one they usually get? Or
Miscongeniality.
there you go.
Yeah.
Most
Yep.
likely to win a drinking contest.
Zabin the Cyndaquil says, what about Jorl?
Jorl is most whatever the opposite of succeed is, most likely to do that.
Fail. That's
Life is
sad.
big, you know,
Oh, poor Jorl. All right, watchers of the time stream, please get in on the action. Let's see what most likely to's you would give our adventurers. Lily Dumblestuck fan says she is most likely to be arrested for arson. I assume that we mean Fahima there. Most likely to be the class clown, James, with the funky librarian
There you
dance
go.
moves. And let's see, who else has one going in here? Shady Sheba says I was voted most shady, and that tracks.
Oh, nice.
For sure.
Also, she did yes.
Fail Waffle says Jorl, most likely to live at home in the basement.
Yeah,
What? That's
yeah,
so
don't shy
sad.
away from your darkness, watchers.
Mr. Evil Overlord throughout their Uggo is most likely to kill a dragon. Okay.
Wow.
Sailor Crescent Potter, Civ's most likely to steal your heart.
Oh.
Whoa.
So nice. So even though we are at a point in our dungeon run where the magic is all mended, there's some huge moments from the fourth and final part of the limited series that we need to look back at. So right now, please check out Amy's Mama Green Spray and Eggo's awkward yet romantic moment. Here.
Ego says,
And she
he shines his forehead a little.
removes her goggles.
Miss Greenspray,
Yes.
you have been a thorn in my side for many years. And it is very strange to me to have found such a common viewpoint with someone who could technically, in the material plane, be considered a plant. However, the beauty of the Feywild has shown me that even the plants can change a person. So I want to thank you for always challenging me. For without your challenging, I am not so sure that I would know as much as I do. And for that, I can never repay you.
Well, pish posh. All I do is tell you that magic is real, and then you're off and about on all of your new theories.
And every time I come back more powerful than I was before. That says something. Is that all?
Well, if we survive this, it will have been an honor to know you, Ego. And I only hope that if I am successful in binding myself for 100 years, well,
I will do my best to extend my life so I can see you when you've returned.
Well, I was going to say, I hope when I do become untethered and return to the world that I know, yours is the first face I see.
Well, it will be...
If only to yell at it and tell how wrong it is.
Of course, of course.
I love yelling at that face of yours.
Yes. This is all imaginary anyway, so of course that's
Yes,
what you
of course, yes. Sure.
You hear a slight lilting of a harp with my clergy.
Brick, you are precious.
I do not understand what just happened.
So sweet. And I mean, we got to see Gus's reaction to that right there, but what was everybody else's at the table's reaction to this budding romance?
Just like, I don't know, it's so hard not to, it's the end and everyone's making, big moves, and it's really hard not to fall in love with Ron Ogden. Good luck, playing with his cute little beard and looking at you like that. It's some real stuff,
You had a bunch of real moments, so thank you so much for successfully holding down the fort in Jeff's absence and also giving us these beautiful moments.
Yeah.
Between your NPCs and our players.
Yeah,
And Jeff, I don't know how many of them you caught, but there were some real zingers.
Yes. No, I thoroughly enjoyed. Amy was amazing throughout, but I mean, the two of us sitting here, we should probably take a moment and say how amazing this cast is, right?
Yes.
What a treat to be able to play with these 5 people.
Absolutely. Like they came to the table with fully realized characters. It was like, oh, I guess my work's done. Like there was very little. There was little I had to do to create these moments. I was just like, well, you already wrote it. Like they've given me these pages and pages and almost like a little novella for each character. So I'm like, well, I can't wait to play the thing that you wrote. So they give you these improv exercises that you're like, well, I'm going to take advantage of it, and it's really them, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just saw that moment take both you and Ron in that clip, and no one will ever forget the moment between Allura and Sir Helvengard when that literally stopped the show.
Yeah. That was me being a little bit taken off balance, and I was like, we have to go now. Because I don't know if you saw it, but it was like, it was right at intermission, or it was around the time that it would be good to have an intermission, and I was like, scared of feelings, or at the moment, it was, I should have sat in it longer in hindsight, but I couldn't, so yeah.
It was
there
beautiful.
You go.
It was beautiful, and it's a testament to you and the players to how present everybody is and how invested and how everyone takes those moments and invests in them and makes them real and grounded and beautiful. And we're just playing a game, but it is it's an opportunity to share something and create something that neither of you really created on your own. That's what's so beautiful about this.
Well, that's watching the dungeon run before stepping into it. It was like, oh dang, these shoes are big to fill. Just based on that one of the episodes. I wasn't able to watch all of them, but one of them was you going through. You even commented on it. The kind of the spin the wheel of fortune on which NPC you're getting. And it was like every scene was so different, but so like emotionally charged. And I was like, okay, how am I gonna do that? Because they do, these actors really are asking for it. They're like, and now I would like this moment, or you're trying to give them that moment. And it's like, well, let's go down an emotional roller coaster. Thanks, everybody.
I especially like when the two of you will give them you can tell they have choices, and you can tell that you guys probably have your narrative tree behind that DM screen. And instead of picking option 1, 2, or 3, they're like, we'll split up and do all 3 options, thank you. And you're like, cool, now I have to do all of this. Thank you so much. But Amy, obviously you get the chance to work with these wonderful actors. You have these awesome set pieces. What would you say was your favorite part of getting to guest DM the dungeon run?
I think, man, it's gonna go back to the beginning when they first asked me. I don't think there's any way you would have known this, but Nando, who is the line producer, another producer on the show, he pulled me into the office once and was like, "Hey, Amy, I just have a quick question. So, Jeff," and I go, "Oh, I think I know what you're gonna say."
That could have gotten awkward.
Well, right, but
Jeff needs someone to pick up his dry cleaning.
Yes. Oh my God, when? It's been on my vision board for months. But it was just one of those things where I was like, to be involved at this level, to be the dungeon master of such a renowned and really well produced and like hand freaking picked actors.
Yeah.
It immediately, I think, the entire thing was enjoyable, but that moment of realization of like, wow, I've gotten the opportunity to do this. This is crazy. It was a joy unlike I've experienced in a while. So.
Yay! Well, we were so happy to have you, as I've said a million times, and we'll continue to say throughout the show. So thank you, Amy.
I'll take it.
And as a fan, Jeff, what did you enjoy about The Mending of Magic when you got to watch it back? Was there a particular character that intrigued you more than another, or what was it for you?
I had eye surgery on a Tuesday, and I had to be face down with my eyes covered. I had to be face down for 24 hours. I had to stay face down for 24 hours.
Did you have like a massage table or something?
I did. We bought a little massage table. It's like an add-on thing. The details aren't particularly interesting, but that Wednesday night, your first episode, I couldn't really watch, but I listened. I had earpieces in, and I listened on Caffeine live. And it was extraordinary. I immediately was like, nobody wants me back. Nobody will ever want me back. This is too good and too amazing. No, seriously. I couldn't believe how beautifully you came in, introduced something that was so different from what we were doing.
Well, that
so cool.
When the initial ask of it, I did email you and I was like, well, here are some things I'm thinking, and I did want to like do something super original, not like a module or something. And yeah, your response back was like, oh my gosh, the Feywild, like as one of the options that I had sent him. He was like, that'd be so unlike anything in Ein and anything that I'm doing. And then
by the way,
that was.
She sent me like 5 things and they were all amazing, by the way.
But that was the one I was most excited for too, just to get, everyone could get their inner fairy on, and just to have that blessing was like, well, that's it. That's the thing I'm doing now.
It was cool to see the players all pick characters that were so different from the ones we were playing. So that was a treat to see their range and to see them sort of play against, not play against type because they didn't have a type, but the characters that I was familiar with, and it was odd watching every episode as I have. It was so cool to see a story with a beginning, middle, and end, and to see how you paced it and how you ramped it up, and the cool set pieces and the fun fights, and how you were so quickly able to get to a place where we were all invested in these players and these characters. Like, we have 18 episodes of our show, or my version of the show, that we can sort of gradually get to a place, but you were able to hit the ground running and create something so quickly that was so high quality. It was awesome.
Thank you. I want to tell you that I'm very unused to like episodically running Dungeons and Dragons, and
Sure.
and I heard maybe this was the same for you, but like to plan out time was very, very weird and challenging. And one of the first things you told me was like, as a dungeon master, throw CR to the wind, which is challenge rating, which is like the level of monsters that people are fighting. Because of chats, donations, and stuff, it like messes with mechanics some. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I knew that Amy had DM'd for a long time and was very good at it, and I knew that the show was in good hands, but I sent her an email
with some
right
tips.
away of like, hey, I don't know if you know exactly what you're getting yourself into here. It took me a few episodes to really understand what was happening, and here's some here's some learnings that I came to, but I just couldn't believe how quickly you were able to.
It's a different and it's a special show, and I will say to any watcher who is ever doubtful that their cards or their donations affect the game, they affect the game so much that you have to look at a monster and be like, okay, like how many numbers on this sheet am I changing? Because it could be all of them, just based on what you know is in the deck, and the deck itself is given, I tweeted this out a bit ago, but the deck itself is given hours of thought and preparation of going through the cards and making sure that some of these things, it's like, that's a great idea. This requires a sound, and this is just a hypothetical if we even draw it. So yes, your donations and your suggestions for what the cards are changed the way the game is played.
The creativity of the audience is completely infused in the show, and it's extraordinary, and it is really exciting but very challenging. It is, because you don't know. I mean, the cards literally are, let's break the rules.
Yes.
Right.
And so you have to, as a dungeon master, be prepared for that, and it's not an easy thing. They're by definition curveballs.
Yeah.
I've heard a dungeon master's role explained as a referee once. So yes, to say let's break all the rules to the referee, I can imagine would make that job very challenging.
Let's break the rules, and we don't know how we're breaking the rules until it comes out of the deck. We don't know when it's going to be used, and it's like, one thing that could show up and be completely change something that you were going to do. It's wild.
Case in point, when Ron pulled the replace a section of the map and he saved it for the literal maze and was like, this maze, it's just clear now. We can just walk around it. I'm like, okay.
That's a while working on that. But.
Yeah. That's a really good section to remove, Ron.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Everyone in chat is laughing hysterically. And they were saying that they loved seeing you taken off guard, that people were saving their cards for so long.
That's so
Jeff, you mentioned this DM tip email that was sent. Do you remember any of the other nuggets of wisdom that were in that email?
I mean, it was more like, hey, I'm here. I haven't gone into surgery yet. Use me as a resource if you need to.
Yeah.
And I told her, I knew that you had experience with audience interaction while you're playing, and I just said, it really does change the show a lot. You have someone in your ear, that's wild. You said you had experience with that too, so that eased my mind as well. But yeah, one of the big ones was like throw challenge rating out the window. I said you're going to want to look over all the cards beforehand, because you want to be you want to have at least a knowledge of what's in the deck, so that when they come out, you're not like, wait, what does that say?
Yeah.
So
well, there were some that even I was like, I'm prepared for this. And then the card in the last episode, I guess, it was a familiar, you can restore half their hit points or something, and somebody was like, well, technically Crow's a centaur, so maybe, and I'm like, like everyone's trying to break the game. Like even the cards and the players together combined, dangerous fuel for this already infused fire of chaos.
Already players that will just read haste and mess with you. I mean,
yes, wait, that's what you said. That's exactly, I was about to say haste. You just said it. That's what I just got excited about. Yes.
Ron messing with you on haste. That's not even a card. That's just the guy reading the rules and messing with you.
That's when I was like,
beautiful moment.
Like that was when I was like, well, there's no good at D&D. However.
Except for Ron.
You're really good at D&D.
Yep.
These dang loopholes that Jeremy freaking Crawford and Mike Merles did. How did they not think of these?
But also, you handled that beautifully, and it made for a really awesome moment. You know what? I think that DMing is all about facilitating cool moments, and what cooler moment than that? So, as I was sitting there watching it, I was like, well, there's like 3 ways that I could say no. I could imagine Amy saying no to this, and there's like 3 ways of like, Well, technically, it would say on his next turn, it probably means the turn that they, but
Right.
I was like, no, Amy handled this the best way possible. Like that, it was a cool thing.
It was a cool thing. Rule
let
of-
it be
rule
cool.
of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twitch 1962 and Dresden Dark both said the rule of cool.
Rule of cool, forever and always.
Yes.
That's what it is. So remember, everybody at home, that there's swag on the line, so get your questions and comments in. And I know we touched on this a little bit before, but Jeff and Amy, please describe how the actors added to both of the adventures. What do their acting styles add to their characters and the theories?
I guess beyond backstory, which I did pull a lot of NPCs that you recognized from their backstories, which was really fun, because when you're peppering your world with NPCs, it's sometimes, I don't know, you're kind of, it's a well, but it's also like needs to be a very specific well. So that was an easy well to pull from. And then just these moments, it was, the other thing is when you're DMing, you kind of want to balance and make sure everyone gets their, it is an orchestra, but give everyone a little solo, and they make it easy just in terms of like, well, I'm going to take my solo moment now. Like this is now my time, and you're like, great, okay, cool.
And the other 4 are so good at letting the person
Absolutely, yeah, with the trust of like, oh, I'll get mine in a second. But they're all improvisers, which is so important, because some of these lines, they feel so scripted, even to me, and like my brain is firing at 100 miles an hour trying to give them anything back, because part of me wants to sit back and just watch the show.
But you can't. You're part of the show.
I'm part of the show. Oh no!
This is a question for both of you. Do both of you have NPC character sheets for most of your NPCs?
Yeah, most of the time. I mean, unless they're just pure story people, then, like there's no stats for Jorl, for
Okay.
example. But if a person is potentially going to be involved in a fight, or they're going to say, if the cast is like, come along on our, adventure, or.
You'd come up with some real quick.
Yeah.
There are, and that's only, I mean, you kind of have to. Everyone's going to get attacked at some point in D&D.
Well, especially in your campaign when you were like, I'm out to murder everybody.
Yes, Grendel's squishy. She's very squishy. I was not shy about that. But in character, Grendel's like, nah, I'm sitting this one out. Yeah.
Appropriate. Yeah. So here you go, folks. More insider intel straight from the DMs who keep the adventure going. So with less than half of the dungeon rundown left, please spend a few moments looking back at a very emotional moment from the Mending of Magic between Allura, played by the extremely talented Amy Vorpahl, and Sir Helvengard, played by Jared Kajak. Take a look.
Allura says, what are you doing? Let me at her. Well, am I just supposed to stand by while you not only defeat Tiresias, but then bind yourself? I'm a warrior, son.
Do you love me?
What? Yes, of course.
Then let me do this.
And what am I supposed to do in the meantime? Sit back and eat popcorn?
You will take care of my horse. We'll see after Brick.
I am no stable boy.
These are the things that I love, Mother. They mean everything to me.
Then let me protect you. You aren't going to take her down on your
I swore
own.
an oath to protect people like you. Why would I give that up? Why would I walk away from that? It is the only thing I have.
I'm stronger than you.
You may be.
And I'm stronger than you think I am, clearly.
I have no doubt that you are. I am asking you, as your son, please do not leave me alone again.
I can't even. Oh, Jared.
A little.
So intense.
A little inside information. After the final episode, Jared texted me. He goes, I think you'll be a good mother one day.
Oh!
Just based on that.
Oh, right in the field, Jared.
Screw you, Jared. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, man. Well, I know that everyone at home loves seeing those emotional scenes. And I mean, you guys decided literally to split it 50-50, so it worked out for everybody.
I know. Well, no dearth of contract negotiations in the
Lots
last
of very
episode.
emotional, guilt-trippy contract
Yeah,
negotiations.
exactly.
But it all worked out.
I know.
So folks at home, tomorrow means heading back to the ocean floor with Siv, Ugo, Lily, James, and Fahima with danger on their heels. Now, Jeff, one of the biggest moments of the last episode before our limited series was you revealing the underwater model for everyone. Please tell us a little bit about the process that you went through to design and build such an intricate piece.
Oh, I'm sure this is something we can share. We both had the opportunity to work with the amazing Greg Aronowitz and his team to have awesome models. And what an extraordinary thing to be able to play. I mean, this is the first time I've seen it in person. I got to see it on the show, obviously, but your model is awesome. The underwater model has been sitting around for several weeks, ready to be, I mean, before a month ago, it was sitting around early because the team maybe wasn't gonna go to bingo and maybe just go straight to the model. So the model had been ready and we were all so excited about it. It is, it's very nerve-wracking for me, like making those things and trying to anticipate all the things that Greg is gonna add to it and make it cooler. And I write up, draw things, to give him as much information as I can, and he always comes back with even cooler ideas. I mean, I had no idea that the tentacles were gonna move. He just
So cool.
He just did that.
That's amazing.
So cool. And yeah, Amy, the Mending of Magic had some pretty intricate set
There
pieces
were-
as
yeah,
well.
there
That pool is so cool.
It's rad.
The pool is cool, y'all. The reference I gave him was the for fans of Link, specifically Ocarina of Time, the fairy pools with the pillar. Like you can look, and he
So
he
good.
did that plus more. And then as I was like, this is not necessary. But the whole thing is Mending of Magic. So if there's a way for it to look really corrupt, and then for also as they bind it to like remove it away in 3 parts, and I was like, so much of my document is like, I am not an artist and cannot visualize. but in a perfect world, maybe you can interpret what I mean. And bing, bang, effing boom.
Done.
Yeah.
So good.
Corrupted magic.
Yeah,
So
I
good.
sent like texture files for the skin of the Inferno Warden because I was like, I want to have it look like it's burning and ashen, and I was like, I drew like a top-down sketch and a horizontal sketch, even though I'm the worst
Yeah,
artist
I
in
think,
the
Jeff,
world.
we actually have some images of you while you planned the Inferno Warden that we can toss
Yeah,
to.
so that's
there
my
we go.
terrible art. But the crazy thing is, if you look, there's a shot from the episode 18 that is a top-down shot, and it is exactly what I drew, even though I drew something so terrible. And the funny part is, like, if you see on there, there's a couple of lines where I'm like, some underwater stuff. And what he puts is a ship and the most amazing aquatic life. It's incredible. I'm like, none of this really matters, but put underwater stuff.
When you got the model, I don't know if it's the same, but when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is everything I wanted. Must write new flavor text. Because it is like, oh shoot, like you interpreted everything, and I had no idea that it was gonna be like this, and so now I have to give it, like, honor it.
Right,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
with
I've
some
definitely
really
written
good-
more stuff about the scene that we're gonna play tomorrow night because the model is so awesome.
Yeah, I think we do have one more picture to toss to of
this is
Jeff
gonna be-
planning this
Okay.
out as well.
So this needs an explanation. So I had a very specific idea how I wanted the warden to be trapped by a giant octopus, and so I was like, I can't draw, but I think I can take a picture of what I want. And I had my wife, that's my house, my wife took this picture. I'm like, honey, I'm gonna get in this really weird position. Can you take a picture? And then I just took,
Classic Thursday, Jeff.
you know, around the Cannata house.
Did you just Photoshop an octopus on yourself?
Yeah, there's like a bunch of different pieces of octopus arms that I got from a bunch of different pictures and piecemealed it together to get it look what I want. But the crazy thing is, that's exactly how it looks. It is exactly, like even every curl of tentacle, I was like, this is sort of just the flavor of what I want, but he did it exactly like that. They sent me a
That's
picture
so cool.
when it was done. They sent me a picture from the same angle as that photo, and it is exact. And I mean, it's amazing to me that they could even do that. And I was like, I just photoshopped this. Yeah, as we were saying, it's
Yeah.
such a treat to be able to play with those things because, you know, every time I've ever DM'd, it's like, oh, you're the bottle cap, and I'm the piece of glass.
Yeah, and it's graph paper. Like that graph
Yeah.
paper sketch
Yeah.
that you showed as the precursor to this is all that we would normally get if we're lucky and our DM draws something. on graph paper.
There was one time I drew like a little map of where I thought everything was in the Feywild, and I was like, okay, so this makes sense to me, and the team was like, so we're not showing this on camera because like we actually have like ways to interpret your brain in a much more artistic way. I'm like, cool, because it's like me and a Sharpie and.
So yeah, how surreal is it to go from that home experience to what you have here?
When I got the picture for it, I texted Bernardo too many expletives for this show. And he was like, I'm gonna screenshot this and send it to Greg. And I was like, well, no, because he might think I'm crazy. so just the first one is good. Like my response of, yeah, great. Because I'm like, beep, 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 beep. This is so beeping, beep.
Yeah, it's such a treat. And I had the experience of looking at the model and being like, this is the most amazing thing. I can't imagine how this could possibly get better. And then the tentacle started moving and I was like, it got better! It got better!
No!
It's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, he's like, oh,
It's
the
awesome.
tunnel lights up red. And it's like, come
Yeah.
on, I didn't even ask for any of that stuff.
It's really beautiful. And you know, we talk a lot about how there's a lot of yes ending going on between the players and the DM, between the players and the DM and the audience, and also the people who make our beautiful set
The
pieces.
lighting.
So it's
Yes.
everything.
They
The
switched
lighting.
the entire lighting to
So
pinks and
cool.
purples,
Yeah.
and then twilight blue, like to highlight this, and then I look great on
Camera work.
So.
I mean, the whole production team is extraordinary.
And it just helps tell the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the way the camera tells the story in the show is unlike any other D&D show that I know of. It really does tell its own story. The shots that they can get over the shoulders, 2 shots, a beautiful. It's a treat.
I know. So we're all here drooling over the beautiful production quality that the Dungeon Run has. But let me get to chat because chat is on fire. Zabin the Cyndaquil says, Ego, the guy who's probably going to show up in Ein once or twice due to cards. Now that leads me to a question for you guys. Do either of you foresee some kind of crossover at some point in the future?
Ooh,
Let me say,
that is a.
I have gotten this question a lot, and I would just say I would never presume to put your creations or use them. I think it's an awesome idea in the sense that people love what Amy and the cast made, and don't want to see it go away completely. And I totally get that, but I would never presume to like bring your creations, your NPCs into my world at all.
I think that the decision of like me starting afresh and like doing a new thing was kind of in the same vein of just like, yeah, it's so strange because I want to play in your sandbox very, very much, but I also don't want to do something or have whatever happens. Like my silly brain is something's gonna freaking happen, and then that's canon, I guess. You know that like that the team didn't the total full. Very whole team didn't have the say in, it wasn't experienced together.
I think the audience is yearning for maybe less of an NPC cameo and more of like a split personality PC situation where like Ego and Ugo have a conversation about philosophy.
Oh, interesting.
Or something like that. So just let that mull over that a bit.
Awesome.
Dream Blaze says, question, Jeff, are you at all jealous of the crush between Araban and Amy?
The crush. I've heard about the crush.
He a thirsty boy.
I've heard about the crush. Let me just say
lit
this.
up.
Okay.
Let me say this.
Great.
You can't blame him. Right? Did you see the dress that she was in? That white dress? Was that episode 2?
The outfits were on fire.
The tiara on episode 4.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I milked it. But what are you supposed to do when you're like given, that's the thing. I will say, when you're given a 4-episode arc, it is way different than an ongoing campaign, and character play as well. And when it's the 4th episode, I don't know that any of the players would have made such bold choices. Jared surely wouldn't have played Sir Helvengard, I don't think, for as long, because it wound up being, like, yes, a tonally sometimes serious, but also like this kind of goofy guy. Like Ego was doing like a fun voice, but all of these, like the length of these characters, it's hard to say. I think they made the choices being like, if they were killed, oh God, this is hard to say, but I think they made bolder choices knowing that big stuff could happen and they wouldn't feel out of sorts, kind of elongating them. They could have and then in the 4th episode, let's make some big choices and big moves because you know when it's ending. It's ending now, so let's do the big stuff.
I also really enjoyed one of my favorite things in movies is when they do that thing where the movie ends and then the text comes up and he went on to start a series of Starbucks restaurants. You know, I love that stuff in movies, and I love that that's how you ended the show.
Yes,
it was so great.
It comes from the RPG Fiasco, which is a very fun RPG, but the very end is everyone gets their little epilogues, and I thought for this thing it might be nice to give, an ending.
I think as somebody who almost never gets an ending in any DMs. I think probably most people are like that because it's like, well, we just sort of couldn't schedule it, so we don't play anymore.
Right.
You don't get to actually conclude campaigns very often because they just sort of fizzle out or whatever. It's so awesome to see a true closing of the book and going, this is where these characters went off to, and we give them a cool denouement.
Yeah.
And now, Jeff, you were originally only planning for 10 episodes of the Dungeon Run.
Yes.
So did you have some kind of ending planned?
Yes.
And will you ever be able to say what that was?
I hope not. I hope we never end. I never want to end.
Oh, so you're saving that ending so that if the series does end, you
I
can
think
use
this
it.
campaign will come to a close at some point, and I do have an ending in mind for this story. So I hope we get a chance to play that out, and it most likely will change and morph because the players are inventing cool stuff. But yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Jared in chat says Helvigard and Civ would not get along, and I believe that to be accurate. Jeff and Amy, this one's again from Zabin the Cyndaquil, says, please think of 2 D&D monsters, then combine them and tell us how they act.
Jagmoose, no.
Yeah, I did that already.
Okay.
And I'll do Nightmare Pegacorn, because we both done that.
I love that.
I think those are off limits because you've already done them.
All
So
right.
pick like 2 of your favorites from the Monster Manual,
Okay.
mush them together, and tell us how they act.
Okay, look, I think Zabin the Cyndaquil, if I remember correctly, this is the Watcher who is obsessed with having a dinosaur in the Feywild. So I don't know which dinosaur, but we'll say a raptor. And then I never got to use them, but myconids, which are little mushroom people. Never got to actually play with them. So what about a dinosaur mushroom? And I think it's nicer than you think. I think it's actually a herbivore.
Is it large or small?
That little thing, it's a little guy.
Oh.
I think he'd be best as a pet. But if you were to fight it, it would probably have some spore-like poison, but also psychic abilities. That's what I think.
Yeah, okay. So like mouse size or like large mushroom size?
Oh yes, like a 1 to 2 feet.
Got it.
15 to 30 pounds.
I would be terrified of that. Yeah, for sure. We got some funny ones from chat. Brandon Nerd says Owlbear Beholder. That would be terrifying.
An owlbear with a bunch of tentacle eyes coming off of it.
Right?
That'd be great.
Terrifying. Morgan suggested Mulch Kraken.
Mulch Kraken.
Oh, the mulch pile. That's a shambling mound, which I never actually said what it was, but I just love the name. It says so much. Shambling mound. But a mulch kraken, yeah.
Yeah, Mulch Kraken. Jeff?
Well, my favorite D&D monster to say is the Flumph. Yes! I love the Flumph, which is why Lily got a Flumphy bank at one point. So I would want a Flumph mixed with a Tarrasque, right? Because that's why wouldn't you? And then you could have a Tarumph.
A Tarumph!
There it is.
The most
the most derpy deity to ever be worshipped.
It's scary. You don't want to need a Tarumph.
That would be terrifying. Watchers of the time stream, let's go ahead and take a look back to get caught up. Watch Jeff reveal the underwater diorama that we've been speaking and singing its praises to our awestruck cast. Take a look at this clip.
The warden on the ocean floor.
Are you kidding?
Oh my god.
Oh my God! The octopus is moving.
It is alive. It is holding the warden in place. The warden is clearly in
Are
pain
you kidding me, guys?
and uncomfortable. I love you guys. And there's wreckage down there. There's a boat that seems to have wrecked, and this massive bubble that seems to have activity inside it, seems to have life inside it, and you stand there on this precipice, looking out over all of this beautiful bioluminescent, this plant life that is in this valley down beneath you, below you. You see the heat radiating off of this thing. It looks like in the bubble there are piles of what look to be body parts.
Yeah.
Corpses.
Oh, sick.
And there are creatures in there that seem to be tending to them, working on them. Lily, I need you to roll a perception check, please.
You're a
You do have
jerk.
advantage.
Oh, good.
Oh, it's like jelly.
It's Civ the Shiv fan,
So the shift and dirty 20.
dirty 20. So what you see in that bubble, working these bodies, picking them up, moving them from place to place, is Margaret Dumblestuck.
What?
And your sisters.
They're alive.
They're working them.
Oh my god.
Who's that fresh-faced boy with both two working eyeballs? Just seems so happy.
Well, I agree with Brandon Nerd, who said it feels like so long ago now. And I mean, some time has passed, but I feel like everybody has taken that moment to kind of calm down from that shock moment. It was very funny to see everyone's different reactions because I feel like Morgan and Ron were both like, oh no, you didn't, while Jessica was like, but it's so cute.
Yeah.
I mean, were those the reactions you were expecting when that was unveiled, Jeff?
I mean, I knew that was going to go over huge because that is just a stunning model.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is you hear Ron go, "You're a jerk," in there.
Well, because they're fighting a kraken, presumably.
I don't know. I haven't asked him because
Okay.
right after that, my eyeball exploded. But I think I've listened to that moment a couple of times now, and I think it's right after I tell Lily to roll a perception check, and I think Ron thinks I'm about to tell her she sees the bodies of her family.
Oh.
But I tell her that they're alive.
Yeah.
So I think he says, "You're a jerk." I think he thinks we're about to see her dead family in piles.
Oh, that'd be pretty bad. I'm trying
So
to
I'm
look
gonna
and
ask
see
him
if
for-
Ron's in chat right now, and I don't see Ron in chat yet, but if he shows up, I will totally let you know. Oh my gosh, how crazy. And I see people clamoring for spoilers, so let me get through a couple questions and then we'll get right there. But Amy, as a member of the new Elite Dungeon Run DM Club,
Feels good.
there are two members.
Very exclusive club.
There are two members of this elite club, but also as a
By the way,
fan.
before Amy joined, it was very lonely in the club.
Yes, we have our meetings every.
It's so great to have meetings now.
The bouncer has the hardest job ever because everyone gets turned away.
That's
Except
right.
for you guys. But Amy, as someone who has been on a whole lot of tabletop shows before, what is it about this series in particular that you think makes viewers so attached to it?
I think it's like what Jeff said. There's a lot of it. This has to be the most well-produced live actual D&D play show out there, and I think that elevates it to a level of when we're at. It's so this wouldn't be possible in a home game because people would be getting up to use the bathroom, people would be like shoving food in their mouths.
People don't pee or eat here.
Yes, no, not that doesn't happen, but the stakes of the story are elevated by the stakes of the production.
Yeah.
And I think every single person knows, oh, we are here and we are alert and paying attention, and that it just wouldn't go down in a home game. Not to say other live streams don't do this very well, but I really think the stakes of our story is mirrored and parallel with the stakes of the production. And so there's this emphasis on professional, not talking over each other, giving respect to where we all sense the camera's moving. One of I know the cameramen and women are doing excellent work on the fly. They're improvising shots to make sure that they're also telling the story. So the lighting, the music, we have actual DJs. It's crazy. So anything that you're hearing, no one's planned any of it. Probably, like we've done our best to
You
plan
planned, but plans go out the window.
So,
yeah, Sean Patrick in chat says the fact that the dungeon run is so interactive and so engaging, that's what makes it special.
The watchers
I
too.
agree. The interactivity is something I will be totally honest about. I was a little skeptical as going into this project about how far we could go with that and to where it might break the show.
Sure.
Right.
And I have been completely amazed that it really makes the show better. And having, we talked about much earlier, that the creativity infused from the audience, their interaction, the moments that they make happen, it really is like a sixth character at the table.
100%.
And I totally agree with the production level, but marry that with the audience interaction too. I think it's a very special show.
It is. So Jeff, how likely is another limited series like The Mending of Magic, but an entirely different one? Like, I mean, you have to go on vacation sometime.
I have one other functional eye, so it could possibly.
Or for yourself, if you say wanted to take a break and head into New World of Darkness or another campaign setting, is that something that you foresee happening in the future?
I mean, I'm of two minds because I never want to leave it again. I love it so much, but I also know like I would be thrilled to see more Amy episodes. So I know that should she have the grace to bless us with her presence again, we would be in good hands and the show would flourish. So I'm not worried about that, but I know I never want to leave ever again.
So how excited are you to be back tomorrow?
It is not an exaggeration to say I have counted down the days. It was very difficult for me to be away, even though the show was great in my absence, but I missed it so much. I love this thing we're making. I love it, and I feel so privileged to be a part of it. It is creatively nourishing in a way I haven't had in a long time, and all I did during my break, during my recovery, was sit around and think about the show and think of ways to make the show richer and deeper and cooler. So I'm super excited to get back and play with these players and this team. So yes.
And we are so excited to have you back. And since this is the Dungeon Rundown, and sometimes we like to tease little exclusives for viewers of this show.
Lucy's.
Do you have any tips that you could give us, or maybe teasers, without giving too much away, obviously? But chat is clamoring. Dr. Sparks says, will Lily's mom and sisters survive? There's a lot going on. So are there any like nuggets that you want to leave our audience with leading into tomorrow?
Oh boy, what can I say? I think there's gonna be some surprises. I think there is going to be, we're coming back to a big fight. It's gonna be a big fight.
Okay.
And it's gonna be probably the biggest test that this team has had yet. And I am excited to see how it goes. It's gonna be a big test for me. I'm very nervous. I feel very rusty, and I'm scared about three-dimensional fighting because we're underwater, so who knows?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
But it's gonna be awesome, and I think the team is gonna rise to the occasion and carry me as they often do. And we'll see. I mean, the stakes are super high. As we mentioned, Lily's remaining family members are still alive down there. We're gonna find out some new stuff. This is the main quest, right? This is mainline stuff. We've been doing a lot of side quests in the weeks before
Well, we
this.
chose to go to Bingle.
Chose to go to Bingle, and that caused us to have to go and deal with Whitebeard and the pirates. All that stuff was just to get to this moment. So here we are, and I think it's a big deal.
I will say, from one DM to another, one thing that you do really well with big boss fights that I definitely stole from you is it's not just about the fighting, it's about the playground around the fighting, so that if each character decided I don't want to attack, they would still have something to do. Like they would still, whatever, in this, well, I thought that, I don't know why I thought your model was behind me, but yeah, this feels like, okay, maybe if we there's something to solve on top of obviously like killing bad guys. If you want to kill bad guys, you can, but also it seems like there are people to be saved. These dead things might need to be cleaned up. Like even as a player, I'm going through and being like, oh my gosh, we really could have an encounter where it's just us on this playground trying to solve the mysteries that you've put out.
Yeah, the biggest thing I've learned, I think, doing this show that has changed from my home game is how much storytelling you can do with environment. How much can just be gleaned rather than said. And so I have really tried to allow, because then that feels like a discovery of story rather than just a dictation of story. So the great gift is that when you have people building things for you like that, you get that opportunity because it's right there in front of you. You don't have to be like, and then you see a bookcase. It's like, no, there's a bookcase right there. It's awesome. So, it's, I appreciate you saying that.
We have gone from text-based adventure to fully fledged 3D game. So with just a few moments until the end of the rundown, it is time to talk swag. The comments of the night and a Dungeon Run t-shirt. So, Jeff, do you want to read who this goes to?
Do I? Are you testing whether I can read with one eye?
Yeah, here, hold on, let me adjust for you and make it slightly easier.
Winner is Ouroboros 43. Katie's face is mine when hanging out with my friends in relationships.
Bum, bum, bum. So not only did you win an awesome Dungeon Run shirt, but Jeff Cannata just read your comment out loud on the show.
Hey.
If that isn't motivation to post during the Dungeon Rundown, then I don't know what is. So watch your inbox for information to get your shirt. And of course, Dungeon Run swag is for everyone, including writers and artists. So if you have some Dungeon Run art or fanfic that you want to share with the world, please go ahead and visit thedungeonrun.fandom.com to share and submit it today. Dungeon Run swag would, I'm sure, look nice with your artsy writer beret, or, do it. A huge thank you to the Mending of Magic DM, Amy Vorpahl, for stepping into the studio tonight.
Yay!
And for being with us during Jeff's recovery. You're amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yay!
Thanks for letting me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You're awesome.
And of course, thank you so much to Rockstar Jeff Cannata for being on the show tonight. And welcome back.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. This is so fun. I could talk to Amy for hours about DMing, and you're a delight, so thank you.
Which we probably will after the show's over. So folks, log into Caffeine tomorrow, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard to watch Civ, Ugo, Lily, James, and Fahima work to stay alive in the deep blue sea. You gotta be here for their return. And then next Tuesday at 6 p.m., get right back here to the Dungeon Rundown to discuss it all. I'm Trisha Hershberger, your fellow watcher of the time stream and host of the Dungeon Rundown, and I will see you next week.